What if the real problem is what happens after AI starts generating code at machine speed? That is exactly where Cursor Origin gets interesting. And no, Origin isn't a new AI model. It isn't another coding agent either. Origin is Cursor's new Git platform, which Cursor describes as a Git forge for the agentic era. In simple terms, think of it as Cursor trying to build the infrastructure where AI-generated code can be stored, reviewed, merged, and managed. So why does Cursor need another Git platform when GitHub already dominates this space? Because the way software is being created is changing. For years, the normal workflow was pretty simple. A developer writes code, they commit it, push it to GitHub, open a pull request, someone reviews it, CI runs, and eventually it gets merged. But now imagine dozens, hundreds, or eventually thousands of AI agents doing parts of that process simultaneously. One agent is building the backend, another is fixing tests, another is refactoring code, another is reviewing a pull request, and another is fixing a CI failure. All of them can continuously create branches, commits, and pull requests. Now the problem isn't just writing code. The entire software development pipeline starts moving faster, and that's the bet behind Origin. Cursor isn't simply saying, let's put AI on top of Git. It's asking a different question. What should a Git platform look like when AI agents become major producers of software changes? And here's the important part. This does not mean GitHub can't handle AI. Actually, GitHub has moved very aggressively in this direction. GitHub's Copilot cloud agent can research a repository, make implementation plans, modify code, work on branches, and create pull requests. GitHub also supports MCP, allowing agents to connect to tools and external context. Then there's Agent HQ, GitHub's broader platform for working with multiple coding agents, and GitHub has even introduced agentic workflows and stacked pull requests. So the real battle isn't GitHub has AI versus Origin has AI. It's much more interesting than that. GitHub is taking an extremely mature Git platform and making it increasingly agentic. Cursor is trying to build a Git platform around the assumption that agent-driven development will become the dominant workload, and that changes the infrastructure problem. At Cursor's 2026 compile demonstration, Origin was reportedly shown handling 22.6 commits per second in a single repository. Now, very important, that's a demonstration figure, not an independently verified production benchmark. But let's understand the scale. 22.6 commits every second is 1,356 commits a minute, and mathematically, that's 81,360 commits an hour if that rate were sustained. Again, that is just an extrapolation from the demo number. The interesting part isn't whether your team will actually generate 81,000 commits an hour. The interesting part is why Cursor is talking about this kind of workload in the first place, because one human developer and a fleet of autonomous agents create very different demands on Git infrastructure. If one developer clones a repository, that's normal. But imagine hundreds of agents constantly cloning, branching, committing, and pushing changes. Suddenly, repository infrastructure becomes part of the AI system. And then there's another huge problem, merge conflicts. Imagine 5 agents working on the same codebase at the same time. Traditional Git is excellent at detecting conflicting changes, but detecting a conflict is not the same thing as understanding what the developers or agents actually intended. Reports around Origin's demo have described AI-assisted conflict resolution, but Cursor hasn't publicly released enough technical detail for us to confidently explain exactly how that system works or how successful it is in production. And there's another important piece of the puzzle, Graphite. Cursor announced its acquisition of Graphite in December 2025. Graphite was focused heavily on code review, pull requests, and stacked changes, and Cursor's reasoning was straightforward. AI can make writing code much faster, but when code becomes abundant, reviewing, organizing, and safely merging all that code can become the bottleneck. That leads to a much bigger vision for Cursor. The workflow could eventually look something like this. An agent gets a task, it writes code, creates a branch, creates a pull request. Other agents review it, CI runs, conflicts get resolved, the change gets merged, and another agent starts the next task. That starts looking less like a traditional coding workflow and more like a software factory. But here's where we need to be careful. Origin does not automatically make GitHub obsolete. GitHub has an enormous advantage: maturity, ecosystem, enterprise adoption, and years of integrations built around its platform, and GitHub is adapting extremely quickly. Its stacked pull requests can manage dependent PRs, cascading rebases, required checks, and merge queues. So features alone probably won't decide this competition. The bigger question is infrastructure. What happens when a software company has far more coding agents than human developers? What happens when thousands of automated changes are constantly moving through repositories, pull requests, CI, and merge queues? That's the future Cursor is betting on, and that's why the most accurate way to describe Origin isn't Cursor built its own GitHub. It's this: GitHub is a mature Git platform adapting to the agentic era. Origin is a new Git platform being built around the idea that agents will generate software at machine speed, and that difference is much bigger than it first appears, because when AI makes writing code incredibly cheap and fast, the bottleneck may move somewhere else. Review, testing, merging, conflict resolution, and the infrastructure connecting all of it. That's the real experiment behind Cursor Origin. And if Cursor's vision is correct, the next generation of software development may not just need better AI coding tools, it may need an entirely different software development infrastructure. That's all for today in Dots and Arrows. Thanks for watching.